Hi, my name is Megan Moore. I work at University Branch Library, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make folded book art. Folded book art is simply the art of folding pages in a book in such a way that when finished, it creates a word or an object, like this. The supplies you need for this craft include a book that you don't plan on reading again, a pencil, a pattern, a ruler, and optionally, a bone folder. A bone folder is used to make your folds crisp and neat. This is a specific craft supply that you can find at a store. If you don't own a bone folder, you can use an alternative tool like a gift card, a wallpaper smoother, or even your fingernail. The pattern I'm using requires 100 sheets to fold. Because book pages are numbered front and back, I will need a book with at least 200 numbered pages in it. You can find a link to some simple patterns in this video description. The purpose of the ruler is to act as a margin guide, which will create more uniform looking tops and bottoms of your folded books. Books folded without a margin guide are easier to make, but don't look as polished when completed. You can use anything that is 1 to 2 inches wide. There are 2 different types of patterns for book folding. Many people use the measure, mark, fold method, and you can find these types of patterns online both for free and for purchase. Measure, mark, fold patterns consist of columns of numbers and involve very precise measurements with a ruler. I prefer graphic patterns only. With graphic patterns, you can actually see the design that you're folding rather than just the numbers you need to measure out and mark before folding. Here is a graphic pattern that I created. For this video, the pattern I'm using is the shape of Texas, which is a very easy pattern to fold. As a general rule, the more complicated the shape, the more pages you will need in the book you're folding. Each column in my patterns represent a page in the book that you can fold. The tops of the columns are numbered to help you keep track of your folds. The patterns that are included in this video description are set to a specific number of pages to fold, so if you want your design to be centered in your book, you'll need to do a little math. Before you count pages, remove the first and last pages of your book, which are thicker than your other pages. To determine exactly how many foldable pages you have in the book, go to the last numbered page, divide by 2, then add any unnumbered pages from the front and back of the book, counting each of those extra pages just once. To center your design in the book, you take that total number of foldable pages and subtract the number of folds needed for your pattern. You divide that number by 2. That is the number of unfolded pages that you should have on either side of your finished design. Count that many pages in and start folding. If you don't like the look of extra pages on either side of your design, you can always rip them out, but if you have a lot, that will impact the look of the finished design. I will show you the beginner's way of folding, but you may find there are steps you can skip once you gain some experience. Once you know which page to fold first, stick your margin guide into the book crease, then line up your pattern to the bottom of that page. I always use my thumb to help out with this alignment. Then you line up the outer edge of the page to the middle of your first column. While holding the pattern steady, take your pencil and make a light mark where the darkened part of the pattern hits the edge of your book page. You will also make light marks on the top and bottom of the page where your margin guide or ruler hits the book. Now it's just a matter of lining up the mark at the top of the page to the upper mark on the edge of the page. Make a light fold so that you know it's aligned correctly, and then you'll use your bone folder to make that fold crisp. Then you do the same for the bottom 2 marks. Some people like to use the margin guide to line up their 2 marks and make their fold as precise as possible. Be sure to mark your pattern after each fold so that you don't accidentally fold the same column over and over again. Flip the page of your book, reinsert your margin guide and your pattern, line it up, and proceed with folding your next column. Now I'm going to show you how I've modified this craft to make it go a little bit faster. If you have dexterous hands, you can cut out some of these steps and speed up your whole book folding process. Notice that I am not marking my book pages before folding. I simply align my pattern, make my folds, and then I mark my pattern and move on to the next page. Throughout the years that I've taught this craft, I have plenty of students who prefer to use the pencil marks and plenty of people who don't use them at all like me. It's totally up to you and your abilities. If you have arthritis or other issues with using your hands, it's better to just go ahead and use the pencil marks. You will, however, still need to mark your pattern with the pencil. I am only talking about the pencil marks in the book. As you can see here, you will reach a point in your pattern where the page doesn't fit inside the book anymore. Whenever this happens, you can cut it or fold it to get rid of the part of the pattern you've already folded, and then you just stick it back in your book and advance the pattern to the next page. Up until this point, our pattern has been very basic. Each column has only had one area to fold. Now, at the end of Texas, we've got a bit here where some columns have more than one area to fold, but we can only do one top and bottom fold per page in our book. So what we do is alternate which part of the design we fold. I've colored in which sections to fold in this Texas pattern to make it easier to interpret. When you get to this part of the pattern, only fold the parts that are shaded in red. When the book is closed, all those alternating folds come together to make a complete design. Once you get through this portion of the pattern, you just go back to your regular folds. In this pattern, there are only 2 areas that you have to alternate between, but some more complicated designs can have 3, 4, even 5 different layers that you would have to interpret and rotate which area that you're folding. But this is a simple pattern. You only have to alternate up and down to 2 different areas. As long as you have enough pages, when a book comes together, you can see the finished design just fine. For this reason, patterns typically do not exist for really complicated designs or long words. The more complex your design, the more pages you will need. This is like the dots per inch on a TV monitor or pixels in a computer graphic. The more you have, the clearer your image will be. Once you have completed your folded book, you can decorate it if you like. There are some really simple ways to jazz up your folded book, especially if you are gifting it to a friend or family member. I always add decorative scrapbook paper to the insides of my book covers. My preference is to never leave pages on either side of the finished pattern, so the inside covers always show on my folded books. You can also cover the outside of your book with contact paper. Just be careful and precise when sticking it down, and be sure to cover the outside before you add scrapbook paper to line the insides. Some people get creative with ribbon, paper and felt flowers, and other materials. Some even color the outer edges of their patterns with markers. It's all up to you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video about book folding. It's a craft that I really enjoy doing, and I hope you enjoy it too. And don't forget, there's free patterns in the video description. Happy folding!